Good afternoon. This is Mariah Graham. I was always asked, when did I discover my talent? Well, I began drawing when I was 5 years old with whatever pieces of paper that I could find. My parents worked on a farm in the southern United States as sharecroppers. When I was old enough to attend school, the teacher and classmates saw that I could draw. So I was always asked to make drawings of shapes of state. That's what we were studying at that time, especially the state of South Carolina, my home state. So that was how it began. But I have a dream. But I had a dream. I really did have a dream. I like to tell people that I bugged a big city newspaper so many times, one of the most famous newspaper in the world, until they gave me a job. And that is true. I arrived at the front door of the New York Times, a 22-year-old, with my portfolio. Um, I am a fashion illustrator, as I was telling myself, selling my talent. That's me. With my drawings under my arm, my drawings of long, elegant women were good. I know that. But I also knew one thing, that sometimes being good is not enough. But that didn't stop me. My mother wanted me to be a nurse or teacher. But I know what I wanted from about the time from the time of 8 years old, and I would succeed. So yes, I hounded and hounded the New York Times many weeks for an assignment. Finally, they sent me up to the head art director. I think it was because they liked my gumption. I had no butterflies in my stomach. I knew what I could do. What was in that black portfolio was what I was selling. My 15 pieces of fashion art were done using design markers, pen and ink, and whatever else material that I could afford. I had sketches of big leather handbags and platform shoes, fashion of that time, the 1960s. I had drawn models in miniskirts and maxi coats. As I said earlier, I knew what I could do. I was given my first assignment that day. I was to illustrate men and women accessories. The art director at the time gave me samples and photos to illustrate. I took my instructions home to the apartment in the Bronx where I lived with my parents and brothers. I stayed up all night long working on the living room floor. I did not have a drawing table as yet, nor could I afford one. But I was doing what I love. A few days later, I saw the New York Times fashion page, illustrated by Mariah Graham. When the illustration appeared in the newspaper, I was on my way. I was so incredibly excited. That was the start of my professional career as an illustrator. I had illustrated the complete fashion of the time twice. Very few artists got that opportunity. Only one other artist has had that opportunity with the New York Times. And I continued to illustrate for the fashion page for 12 years. I have worked as an illustrator for over 5 decades and is internationally known for advertising, fashion, editorial, and decorative art industry. I now combine both digital and hand drawing illustration to create major assignments for fashion, editorial, advertising, image, and products. I have also created editorial illustration for Saatchi and Saatchi, the New York Times, as I said before, Gray Advertising, the New York Daily News, Ogilvy and Mater worldwide. I illustrate comps for the Bluetooth technology. I'm sure most people in the audience know who that is. Editorial illustrations for the HBO Josephine Baker story. I have flown back and forth to London and Germany several times, illustrated for the London Times and fashion magazines in Munich. I have also created editorial illustration for Vogue magazine, Harper's Bazaar, and all the major cosmetics companies such as Revlon, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, and Elizabeth Arden. My portfolio has been showcased to major creative and editors in Beijing and Singapore. I was showcased as Artist of Today. I have lectured to young college students, and because they remind me of me, I urge them to work hard and succeed. Your life is your drawing. You paint what you want to be and to do. The painting of my own life began a long way from the big newspapers and big city street. It began in the cotton field of South Carolina. My background has made me unafraid. Not much scares me these days in time. I mean, I do whatever needs to be done, and I just keep moving. And I tell the students, this is a quote that I have lived by most of my life, and I tell it to the students. Their lives are not determined by what happens to them, but how they react to what happens to them. And as most kids would know, don't sweat the small stuff. And it is the failure that makes success so incredibly sweet. My personal message to young artists who would like to make this a career is simple. And I put it here with exclamation mark around it. And I say, how bad do you want it? And if they come back with, I want it really, really bad, then I say, now you show me. And that is my last word to young students who are going into this industry.